Hey, what's up, man? I've got a few cautionary thoughts for you younger fellas today who are marriage minded, and my concern comes from a Twitter thread that showed up a few weeks ago. It was written by a young man named Zach, and Zach claims to be marriage minded, and in this thread that he posted, he is explaining how devoted he will be to his future wife and how he will dote over her every need. And while I suspect that Zach knows exactly what he's doing, I'll get to that in a minute, I'm concerned that it sends a dangerous message to idealistic young men who are marriage minded. So let's take a look at Zach in his own words. And bear in mind that this tweet has gotten 22,000 likes and 6,000 retweets, so it really has gotten quite a bit of traction. All right, here's Zach in his own words. First off, you'll never have to worry about anything or about us. I'll spoil you like the queen you are and let it be known how much I love you. I'll make sure you're the happiest girl alive. You'll get random flowers, chocolate, paragraphs, food, poems, love, anything you desire. If you ever to be sick, just know I'm being sick right there with you, cuddle you, massage you, cook for you, get anything you want, princess. I'll always bring something new to the table. One day we'll have dinner on a high-rise on the beach, and the next we'll have a picnic at a lake. I'm going to be clingy with you, but know the line from clingy to annoying. And it goes on quite a while, and it's very flowery. And he got a lot of positive responses from attractive young women on Twitter. For example, Pure says, "So, you still need a girlfriend?" M says, "Where have you been all my life?" Lauren says, "This is honestly so cute. I read it like 5,000 times, heart emojis, forever waiting for someone like this." And Jai says, "Can I be your future girlfriend? Because shit." That's cute. I think she's quoting Shakespeare. He also got some interesting responses from guys, including one from Melzy who says, "Lol, you definitely gonna get cheated on, bro." Now, the cynical part of me isn't convinced that this isn't just young Zach's attempt to get laid, because as I look through the rest of his Twitter account, which seems to be devoted exclusively to attracting women, he vacillates between poetically seductive and pornographically obscene. His Twitter feed looks like it could have been written by Smooth B from The Onion. But I'm going to give young Zach the benefit of the doubt and assume that he's being genuine in this thread, because there is a genuine quality both to this thread and to his Twitter account in general. And that being the case, I'm not here to mock him. I'm not here to hold him up as some kind of beta example of what not to do. I like Zach, because we live in this world where so many men and women are just at each other's throats with paranoia and hostility and half-baked theories about how the other sex is out to get them. And here's a young guy putting some positive vibes out in the world, advocating for devotion and commitment, and I like that. So good on you, Zach. My concern is that the words and behaviors that can attract women are not the same qualities that can maintain a woman's interest for the long term. And I've met a lot of guys, hundreds of guys, who started out exactly where Zach says he is, and down the road they end up heartbroken and zeroed out, partly because they chose the wrong women, and partly because there's something they didn't understand about maintaining a woman's interest for the long term. I grabbed this plastic horse from my daughter's room a minute ago. She has about a dozen of these up there next to her little horse figurines and her horse stuffies and her horse books and her horse calendar hanging on the wall because my daughter loves horses. Now, we don't have horses, and she didn't grow up around horses, and nobody has been feeding her a diet of horse propaganda. So there's really no reason for her to love them as much as she does beyond the fact that she's a little girl. And little girls seem to have this instinctual affinity for horses. And I've always found that a little bit curious. So I was talking to another psychologist recently, and she had grown up around horses, and I asked her, what is it with little girls and horses? And she didn't need me to explain that question. She knew exactly what I was talking about. And she said, well, that's easy. Little girls love horses because it's a complex relationship. See, dogs and cats are easy. They're usually of the same temperament throughout their lives, and even when they're not doing what you want them to do, you can easily just manage them by physically controlling them. But horses are obviously a much bigger challenge. They're intelligent, they're opinionated, and they're dangerous. So in order to coexist with this creature, you can't just exert physical control over them. You have to master the relationship and all of its complexities. And I think that that's the challenge that is instinctually attractive to little girls. And as adults, healthy women crave relationships with men who are interesting and complex and admirable, not just nice. Zach's thread to his future girlfriend appears to be dripping with that big five personality trait, agreeableness. Now, agreeableness has two components. There's compassion and politeness. Compassion meaning that you're attuned to the other person's needs and you try to meet those needs, and politeness meaning you're attuned to the social rules and conventions and you try to follow those rules. There's obviously nothing wrong with being agreeable in a relationship. You have to be somewhat agreeable. But if you're a man who is trying to maintain the interest of a woman over years and decades, there are a couple of very big problems with being too agreeable. Problem number one is that women find men who are too agreeable to be flat out unattractive. There have been several studies confirming this, including one recently, and it's no mystery as to why. It's because men who are overly agreeable never reach their full potential. They succeed less than other men. They make less money than other men. And of course, that's going to be an unattractive quality to women. Problem number two with being overly agreeable is that men who are too agreeable run the risk of falling into what my friend Robert Glover calls nice guy syndrome. And this is where a man develops an imaginary covert contract with the world, to use his phrase, where he thinks that if he is polite and compassionate to the world, that the world will be polite and compassionate in return. But the world doesn't work that way, and people don't work that way, and women don't work that way. So the man who is too nice and agreeable runs the risk of being disappointed and then becoming jaded and bitter and passive aggressive and withdrawn. And these are also very unattractive qualities to women. There's absolutely nothing wrong with flowers and Valentines if that's what's important to you. But if that's your only plan for maintaining a woman's interest over the course of a lifetime, and by the way, I don't really think that's what Zach was saying, but if that's your only plan, you're going to fail miserably. You need to be a lot more interesting and complex than that. And the simplest recipe is just to follow the advice in my book, which is to chase excellence. Because when you're out there in the world pursuing that personal and professional success, it forces you to be interesting and complex. It forces you to be disagreeable sometimes. It even forces you to occasionally neglect the relationship while you're out there slaying the beast. And guess what? When you step away for a minute, it's that much sweeter when you come home with your flowers and your Valentine. All right, guys, I hope this is helpful to you. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.